Hello everyone, welcome to my channel My Tech Notes. In this video we'll discuss about most frequently asked interview questions related to object-oriented programming in Java. These questions will definitely help you in your upcoming interviews. So let's get started. So first of all, what is Java? Java is an object-oriented programming language that makes it platform independent. Because of that, it can run on any machine. So what makes Java platform independent? How is Java platform independent? So what makes it platform independent, right? So whenever we compile Java using Java compiler, it gets transformed into an intermediate code, that is bytecode. These bytecodes can be converted into its native language, and that can be executed simply on JVM. There is an embedded JVM in a RAM present on all of the operating system. So that is why Java can be run and Java code can be run on any machine. So that makes it platform independent. Okay, so once you answer that, another question comes is what is JVM? Along with that, they can also ask you about JRE and JIT. Okay, so let's know what is JVM. Okay, so JVM is a runtime environment. It's an engine that converts Java bytecode into a machine language. JVM is also a part of Java runtime environment. So JRE is the Java runtime environment. It comes with JDK, that's Java Development Kit. JRE contains JVM, Java class libraries, and some specialized tools in it. It is a most important environment to run any Java program on a device. So as soon as we compile our Java program, it converts into a byte language, a bytecode that gets converted into native language because of JVM, and that make it platform independent. So JR is necessary if you want to run the bytecode on any platform. Okay, so that's Java runtime environment. What is just-in-time? So just-in-time is a compiler. It is also a component of JRE, and it is used to improve the performance of Java applications at runtime. Now comes what is JDK. JDK is a toolkit. It's a complete kit that includes JRE in it. Okay, so it's a closed platform software development environment that provide a lot of tools, JREs, libraries in it, and all together like JDK, JRE, JVM, JIT makes Java platform independent. Why is Java called object-oriented language? Okay, so why do we call it object-oriented programming language? The basic concept of object-oriented programming language is that it is about the objects and classes. So that's the basic idea behind object-oriented programming language. So writing any Java code is impossible without using objects and classes. Okay, and Java is based on object and classes only, right? So we'll know about object and classes in coming questions. Java also implements lots of object-oriented programming concepts like polymorphism, data encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, aggregation, association, interface, etc., etc. However, Java is not fully object-oriented language because it supports primitive data types also, like int, byte, long. These are not objects, while object-oriented programming language is only about objects and classes. Okay, so that's why Java is not completely object-oriented programming also. So when you talk about object, so interviewer can ask you about what is an object. Okay, so object is a thing that has its state and behavior. You can call object as an instance of a class. Okay, it has a reserved memory for it. it has an address and space for it. Okay, two objects can never be same because they are stored in different memories, and they have different reference also. Okay, two objects can communicate with each other even without knowing their specific details. How is that possible? We will see in coming questions. Okay, so for giving example of an object, say car. Car is an object. Okay, it has its color, its brand, its price. So these are the states of a car. While how what is the mileage your car is giving, what are the new features in your car. Okay, these are the behavior of your car that makes it different. So next is, what is a class? So class is you can say template of an object. So it can sometimes we call it blueprint also, from which we create individual objects. Okay, so by instantiating a class, we create an object. So class does not have any space, it does not reserve any space for it, it does not have any memory for it. It is defined with the keyword class. Okay, so as soon as we create a class, there is just a code for us. Okay, it does not acquire any space. Our JVM does not know about this class unless we make it an object. So after once we instantiate a class, an object is created. Okay, and that object can be used further for the communication with other objects. So let's discuss what are the OOPS concepts. So object, class, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, aggregation, association, loose coupling, tight coupling, all of these comes under OOPS only. But these are the main concepts of object-oriented programming language. Is Java 100% object-oriented programming language? No. It is not completely object-oriented programming language, but it tries to cover most of the concepts of it. But why it is not 100% object-oriented programming language? Because it supports primitive data types like int, byte, long, etc. So these are not objects. To make these primitive data types an object, Java has to use wrapper classes on it. Okay, so that's why it is not in line with the rules of object-oriented programming language. So that's why Java is not 100% OOPS language. Okay, so now after this interview can ask you about the concepts of OOPS. So what do you mean by polymorphism, or what do you know by polymorphism? What is polymorphism? So polymorphism is what is polymorphism? So polymorphism is the representation of a same method in different formats as polymorphism. Okay, what do I mean by that? So we have a method. Okay, it can have 2 parameters. We can override the same method with 3 parameters. We can override the same method with 4 parameters. The same method can have different return types and different argument types, different reference variables. So this is called polymorphism. When something appears in multiple forms, is called polymorphism. Okay, there are 2 types of polymorphism. Static compile time polymorphism, that is called method overloading. Another one is dynamic polymorphism, that is called method overriding. Okay, so here is an example of method overloading, or you can say static polymorphism, compile time polymorphism. So this is the polymorphism that executes at the time of compilation. Okay, so this is what we call method overloading. So here in this example you can see we have a class my object. In this we have a method add. We have defined the same method 3 times, but number of parameters are different in it. Like, so this method add has 1 argument in it, another has 2, another has 3 arguments in it. So this is called, so these have the same method name but different formats. in it. Okay, so this is what we call method overloading, and this is called static polymorphism. When same thing appears in different forms is called polymorphism. Another type of polymorphism is dynamic or runtime polymorphism. That is, we also call it method overriding. So here is an example of method overriding. This kind of polymorphism comes when we generally inherit the properties of our parent class. Okay, when we are trying to inherit the properties of parent class, when we are trying to override the method already exist in parent class with some specific features in the subclass. Okay, so here is an example of method overriding. We have a class called vehicle which has a method of wheels, so that prints number of wheels. But now we have defined a subclass called car that extends vehicle. So in this class we have overridden method wheels. Okay, so car has 4 wheels. We define one more class that called scooter that extends vehicle, and it is also overriding the same method wheels and returning the output as 2 wheels. So here you can see same method wheels have different representation and different definitions and subclasses, right? So this is called method overriding. So it's a dynamic or runtime polymorphism because it executes at the running our code, okay, at the runtime. Okay. Another question comes: what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is an art. It's an art of keeping class fields private and making them and hiding them from the public view. Okay, so that no so that no class can access those fields directly. Okay, they need some permission, they need some authentication to access those fields. So this method is called encapsulation. Because of encapsulation, data and code can be kept secure within a class itself. It provides a protective barrier to them. So with the help of encapsulation, we can reuse code fragments or variables without giving permission to the public access. So here is an example of encapsulation. Okay, so let's see. We have a class called animal. In this we have defined private field that is age. Okay, we have defined getter method that is getAge and setter method that is setAge. So why these two methods? And these methods are made public so that any external class can access them and provide their input to this animal class. So whenever a class accesses this animal class, they cannot directly change the age of this class. First of all, they have to instantiate animal class. After that, they will access the setter method, provide the parameter that they want to set the age as 12, okay, and then get the age of the animal. Okay, so let's see. So here's the class main. In this we are defining public static void main. We have initialized animal class here. So in this animal class we have set the age as 12, okay, and now we are reading the class animal age by his getter method. So that's how it works. So because of encapsulation, we have not provided facility to the external classes or public classes, other classes, to read or change the property of animal class. First they have to instantiate it and then change the properties. Okay. Next question is, what is inheritance? Inheritance means inherit something from a parent. Okay, like child inherits lots of characteristics from their parents. So similarly, inheritance exists. So it is a method in which a subclass can inherit the state and behavior of its superclass or parent class. So objective behind inheritance is to reuse the features of parent class. Also, subclass can add their own features by overriding it or inheriting its parents' functionalities. The keyword used for inheritance is extends. Java allows only to inherit only one class at a time. So in Java we cannot do multiple inheritance because it does not support that. We will see that later. So there are 5 types of inheritance: single level inheritance, multi-level, multiple, hierarchical, hybrid. I told you that Java does not support multiple inheritance. So what is single level inheritance? So single level inheritance is a method in which one class inherits the properties from only one parent class. Okay, so here class A, class B extends class A. So that means class B is inheriting the property from class A only. It is not extending the property or inheriting the property from any other parent class. So this is called single level inheritance. Multi-level, where one class is derived from the parent class that is also derived from the another class. So a child class has multiple parent classes. So that is called multi-level inheritance. So this is how it looks. So here is class A, class B extends class A, class C extends class B. So class C is inheriting the property from class B and class A, right? So this is called multi-level inheritance. Next is multiple inheritance. So assume that class A has so Java does not support multiple inheritance. Why? So let's read it here. So for example, there is a class A that has 2 subclasses B and C. D has 2 superclass, that is B and C. So in this scenario, D is inheriting 2 superclasses B and C. Okay, so the problem arises that if D wants to inherit some of the properties from class A, okay, then from which superclass it will inherit that? Is it from B or C? So this issue is called diamond problem. Okay, so multiple inheritance introduces difficulties like diamond problem into Java, so which makes it very difficult for a programmer to resolve this problem. So that's why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. Okay, next is hierarchical level inheritance. So where one parent class has 2 or 3 child classes. Okay, what does it mean? Like class A, now class B extends class A, class C extends class A. So this is called hierarchical inheritance, where class A has 2 childs B and C. Okay, next is hybrid inheritance. So hybrid, as the name suggests, it's a combination of different type of inheritance, like multi-level, hierarchical, can say. So it combines single and hierarchical inheritance. For example, class A and class B extends class C, and class D extends class A. So it's a combination of different kinds of inheritance in it. Okay, next is what is static binding and dynamic binding. We have just read it. So static binding is method overloading because it gets resolved at compile time, and dynamic binding is method overriding as it gets resolved at runtime only. Okay, next comes what is abstraction. So abstraction is also a concept of object-oriented programming language. It is a process which displays only the information needed and hides the unnecessary information. Okay, so abstraction is a process where we will show only the information that is required to be shown, okay, while all the unnecessary part, all the part, we can hide it using abstraction. So main purpose of abstraction is data hiding. So what do you mean by abstraction? It's a selecting data from a large number of data to show information that is only required, while hiding the information that is not required. So simple. So in abstraction we have abstract class and we have abstract methods. So abstract class is a type of class that declares one or more abstract methods. If a class has an abstract method, so we have to define that class as abstract only. Okay. And what is an abstract method? Abstract method is a method that has a method definition but not implementation, and it is also defined with the keyword abstract in front of it. Okay. So this abstract method will not have a definition in it. Yeah, sorry, it only has a definition but not implementation in it. Generally we need abstract methods when two or more subclasses do the same task in different ways. Okay, so we just define their signature but we don't provide implementation in them. So in that case subclasses can implement their own behavior into that. An abstract class can have both abstract and non-abstract methods. So here is an example of abstract class. So we have defined an abstract class animal. So it has a method called sound in it, and that's a public abstract void sound method. Now we have defined a class lion that extends animal. Okay, so lion had inherited the abstract class. So whenever we inherit abstract class we have to implement that abstract method also. So here it has provided implementation to sound method. So sysout roar. So public static void main animal. Here we have instantiate lion class. So we have instantiate lion class. Okay, and object dot sound. So it will give us roar. What is interface? Interface is also called a blueprint of a class. It is used to achieve abstraction, multiple inheritance in Java. So it can have multiple abstract methods without implementation in it. Okay, and interface is defined using the keyword interface for a class. In interface we don't provide implementation to any method, it only has abstract methods in it. Java interface is a relationship. So here is an example. Interface printable. Class A6 implements printable. So this class A6 has implemented the interface printable. So whenever we for abstract classes we have to use extend, while for interface we use implement keyword. Okay, so class A6 implements printable, public void print. So here it is implementing this method, and in this we have printed it. And association is a relationship between two distinct classes to help each other. Okay, so association explains how two objects are related to each other. Is it one to one? Is it one to many to one, many to many? What kind of association is this? So there are two types of association: aggregation and composition. So what is aggregation? Aggregation is also known as hazard relationship. It's a relationship between two distinct classes where one class can be a component of other class, but both of them are independent of each other. They can exist without each other. For example, we have an example of car and wheel. Okay, a wheel can be can exist as a component of a class car. Okay, but wheel can exist independent also. It is only a small component of a car, but it can exist without car also, right? So this kind of association of aggregation is weak association. What is composition? Composition is connection between two classes where both of them cannot exist without each other. When a class is deleted, all of its components are also deleted. So this composition stands for the part of relationship. In every composition between two objects, one object cannot exist without another. As a result, both objects are completely dependent on each other. So composition is a restricted form of aggregation. Now, what is generalization? Is a process to find out common things between many classes, club all of those common common features into a class and make it a superclass. Okay, so process of generalization involves taking shared features from two or more classes and integrate them into a generalized superclass. So this is called generalization. And what is specialization? In generalization, we have seen that all the common features we are clubbing them in a superclass. So that is called generalization. Specialization is called when we are creating subclasses and with some specialized feature in it. Okay, so making new subclass out of an existing class is known as specialization. A subclass can be established if it turns out the specific characteristics or methods only apply to some of the class objects, right? So that is called so that is it for object-oriented programming concepts. So I hope I have covered most of the interview questions in this video. Okay, let me know if you have more questions and if you want me to cover more details in this video. Okay, I will make one more video for you. Okay, until then, all the best. Thank you.